Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Maki Arai.
And I'm Makiko Tsuda.
Every week we bring you the freshest information out of Japan right here from our studio in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even foods, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
And these are our topics for today. As always, we have some interesting stories to share with you, so make sure you stay with us. So let's get started. Well, first up is Executive Insight. So Utsuda-san, what's our topic today?
Yes, this time we'll be hearing from a top executive in the frozen foods industry.
So I see we have quite a variety of frozen food here.
We do. And they're some of the core products of the top 5 frozen food makers in Japan. And as you can see, we have fried gyoza dumplings, ramen noodles, fried rice, Salisbury steaks, rice balls, desserts, and even frozen bread.
Well, they vary in so many different kinds, from main dish to even snacks, and they're all very popular among children.
Yes, they really are. And it's because this freezing technology has improved quite a lot, so it's become possible to freeze foods and preserve the freshness and the nutritional value at the same time.
So how big is the frozen food market?
Well, let me show you a little chart over here. So you can see shipments have been increasing over the past 3 years, and it reached nearly $9 billion in 2012. And demand has been growing, especially after the 2011 earthquake and tsunami, which heightened the importance of having emergency food stocked at home. And also there's been a trend among consumers eating at home rather than going out.
Well, are there any obstacles for the industry?
Well, yes, many of the manufacturers rely on imports for raw ingredients, and because of the weaker yen and the rising ingredient costs, it has pushed up prices. So this in turn has spurred fierce competition among rivals, undercutting each other. And supermarkets are the main outlet for frozen foods, but you can go and see it's becoming quite common to see products at half the price.
So what kind of market share does each player have?
Yes, we have a chart here. So as you can see, Nichirei Corporation has over 20% market share, and it's the biggest company. So today we'll be showing you an interview we had with company president Kunio Otani. Take a look.
Executive Insight. Nichirei is targeting nearly $5 billion in revenue this fiscal year, the first time in 11 years. They say sales of core frozen food products are brisk. We spoke with the president, Kunio Otani, about the company's progress in meeting that goal.
In terms of the outlook, we sense that the market is changing. The first reason is that sales have been growing since the 2011 earthquake and tsunami among consumers who previously had no interest in frozen foods. Another factor is the big changes in the lifestyles of Japanese people. There are more elderly and single-person households. And there's also the rise in the employment rate of women. There's now a greater understanding of the value of frozen foods, which has helped to expand the market and driven up our revenues.
So what frozen foods meet the changing lifestyles of the Japanese people?
This bacon pepper pilaf, for example, is extremely popular among younger customers. And this is the Choose Your Own Dish product, which is based on dinners sold at supermarkets. They were developed with the idea of helping elderly people living alone, couples whose children have left home, and working couples who take turns preparing dinner. I like the fact that even the vegetables come in single portions. Frozen foods are often sold in big packages that you can't finish in one go. The key word from now on will be optimum portions.
Nichirei has been actively developing products aimed at one-person and elderly households, such as those that contain various small-serve items and others that come in single portion sizes.
Have you seen changes in the trends of dining out and eating in? Without a doubt, trends in the three areas of dining out, eating in, and buying pre-prepared foods fluctuate depending on the economic situation at the time. As the number of elderly households increases and the population of young people shrinks, we expect the demand for the large portions served in restaurants to fall. Amid this, we feel demand for our products is growing.
One of the company's core products is the tender, juicy fried chicken. We had a look at part of the production process at their factory in Kyoto.
This is where we bread the chicken and fry it in oil.
The chicken is steamed, breaded, and cooked using a conveyor belt fryer. The temperature of the oil and frying time are corporate secrets.
The chicken is steamed, breaded, and cooked using a conveyor belt fryer.
By shaking the chicken, excess oil is removed from the breading.
They're left to cool and are then put into a freezer.
Finally, they're passed through a freezer set at below minus 35 degrees Celsius for 45 minutes. This seemingly simple production process is actually packed with meticulous know-how. The company is also strengthening its overseas business. At their factory in Thailand, which was set up in 2010, various processed products, such as fried chicken, are being made. In addition, they've been expanding into fresh poultry. But with chicken prices in Thailand falling by half, the company racked up a loss of over $40 million. We asked about the progress in their profit recovery strategy.
What progress has been made in improving profitability, and what is your outlook? Compared to the year before, profitability has improved dramatically. There are several factors for that. First is that we ramped up production of processed products. At the same time, we invested in automation and installed deboning equipment to raise productivity. The second factor was the increase in product prices in Thailand. As a result, we received significant benefits in terms of domestic sales as well as exports to Japan. Exports to Europe are also growing, so you could say that profitability has improved significantly compared to last year.
Amid this, a new business was launched in Thailand. This April, they set up a joint venture with a local firm to carry out cold distribution of frozen and refrigerated foods. As incomes rise across Southeast Asia, demand for frozen foods has also been growing. And with the Japanese government announcing its participation in the Trans-Pacific Partnership talks, the company believes exports of frozen and refrigerated foods from Japan will expand. So they decided it was necessary to establish a cold distribution network.
So, is it part of your vision to position Thailand as the distribution center of Southeast Asia? Yes. There's a big port called Lam Chaban, and we're planning to build a cold warehouse with a 22,000-ton capacity by next autumn. We'll start from there, and in the future, we'd like to link that to a cold warehouse in Europe to expand this business. Strategically, you can think of it as expanding our business area. We are solely focused on expanding cold distribution locations outside of Japan. In terms of synergy, we believe there's plenty of potential to expand our networks in Thailand, Japan, and elsewhere.
The company already operates cold warehouses in 8 European countries, centered on the Netherlands. In the future, they plan to expand this network with Thailand as the base. Their cold distribution business generated revenue of over $800 million between April and September this year, an increase of 6.5% year-on-year, while operating profit was up 5.9% at $43 million. To further expand the business, the company is aggressively seeking out M&A opportunities overseas. Last year, they acquired U.S.-based frozen foods producer Innovation Cuisine. The reason was the sharp rise in demand for Asian foods.
The U.S. population is multi-ethnic, and we got a strong impression that Asian foods are highly regarded. The market is quickly expanding, and recognition of Japanese food and Japanese brands is growing. A lot of the products are tailored to the tastes of Americans. But we believe there's fertile demand for more genuine Japanese cuisine. That's true in Europe as well as the U.S.
He says through innovation, they are targeting a 10% share of the North American frozen foods market.
You've boosted capital expenditures quite a bit. But in terms of outward investments and buyouts, will you be more aggressive? Naturally, I consider M&A as one management strategy. It's only that there are no attractive targets yet. If I see a business we need, I may pursue a leveraged buyout. If there's a target within the domain of our core business, I would also consider a business or capital tie-up.
The wealth of knowledge built up in Japan will be put to the test as the company serves up its fare around the world. Mitsui & Company.
For Earth, for Life, Kubota.
One day has finished, and one new day has started on somewhere in the world. Kubota supports every moment somewhere out in the world. By the mechanization of agriculture, by the maintenance of water infrastructure, by the latest environmental engineering. We support a prosperous life for humans while protecting the environment of this beautiful Earth. Food, water, and the environment link the world. Kubota.
Together, let's generate happiness. Let's raise the world to new heights. Let's carry our dreams further. At the heart of society, Toshiba Technology. For a growing future, Toshiba. Together, let's create better healthcare. Let's develop a sustainable environment. Let's give children a promising tomorrow. At the heart of society, Toshiba Technology. For a growing future, Toshiba.
You're watching Channel Japan. In our next segment, Project Japan, we bring you a video report from the Nikkei online edition. And the topic today is services geared toward overseas visitors.
Yes, that's right. Now, first, if you can take a look at this graph over here. It shows the number of foreign visitors to Japan, and of course we don't have the complete number or complete data for this year. As of October, the number of visitors hit a record high, and according to the Japan National Tourism Organization, over 8.66 million people from abroad visited Japan between January and October, and that's a number that surpassed the record of 8.61 million that was made in 2010.
Well, I do see many more foreign visitors compared to before. So, which regions do the majorities come from?
Yes, well, according to the Tourism Bureau, a breakdown of the nationalities of foreign visitors shows that there's been a big increase from the Asian nations. And for example, you can see Thailand. Visitors from Thailand were up over 60% compared to last year. More than 50% increase from Vietnam, and then Indonesia and Singapore were both up more than 30%.
Well, it seems there's a particularly big increase in visitors from Southeast Asia. So what's behind that?
Well, the weaker Japanese yen has certainly helped, and also the launch of low-cost carriers that fly between Japan and the region are a big boost. Another big factor is the loosening of visa requirements by the Japanese government in July for tourists for several Southeast Asian nations.
Well, on the other hand, it looks like visitors from China have dropped off.
Yes, you're right. Now, political tensions between Japan and China have resulted in a decline in visitors from China, and it still falls short of the annual number a year ago. But if you look at data on a month-to-month basis, you can see that it's slowly recovering towards the end of this year. And in particular, visits in October during the week-long national holiday in China jumped more than 70%.
Well, I understand the Japanese government is targeting 10 million overseas visitors annually.
Yes, you're right. So today we'll be showing you a variety of services that may help make stays in Japan more comfortable and enjoyable for tourists from the Asian region. So take a look.
The Project Japan. Japan is seeing an influx of foreign tourists like never before. Between January and October, 8.66 million visitors arrived in the country. That exceeds the annual record with 2 months still left on the calendar.
I went to Hokkaido in northeastern Japan and will be going home today.
There are numerous tour packages targeting the growing number of tourists from overseas. This is a bus tour that takes visitors to major sites in Tokyo, accompanied by a Chinese-speaking guide. This is Tokyo Tower. The observatory deck over 300 meters above ground offers a 360-degree view of central Tokyo. A slightly different perspective can be had on a boat ride down the Sumida River, which snakes through the city. And lunch at a restaurant known for its crab dishes.
我从上海来的，日本的服务，或者说对那个服务上那个细节的这个关注，是非常值得中国学习的。
Chinese tourist arrivals had dropped sharply as political tensions increased between China and Japan. But in recent months, there's been a slight recovery.
What kind of increase did you see during the Chinese National Day holiday?
We received nearly double the number of customers last year.
So it's the busiest time of the year?
Yes, we also have big hopes for the Lunar New Year holiday at the end of January next year. We're in the midst of ramping up the number of tours so that we can welcome visitors from China.
The influx isn't just from China. There has also been a sharp rise in tourists from Southeast Asia. The region is home to a large number of Muslims. To better accommodate such visitors to Japan, study sessions are being held across the country for people working in the tourism industry, including hotels and restaurants. One of the main events of this gathering is a buffet. Everything is halal, foods permitted under Islamic dietary law. Even Japanese dishes, such as sushi and hot pot, have been prepared. Pork and alcohol are not used, in line with strict guidelines.
Very good for me, and I'm very amused because there is all food. I'm usually only can look in other Japanese restaurant, and I only can eat potatoes and sushi or vegetable. But no, I can eat everything, and it's heaven for me. It's very good. It's very good.
Halal is slowly gaining attention. I felt I needed to learn about it.
Halal food is critical to attracting more tourists from Islamic countries. The central kitchen of this hotel, which hosted the event, has acquired halal certification.
We originally thought that all we needed to do was procure halal ingredients. But we later found out that foods containing any pork extract or alcohol are not allowed. Checking each and every dish was extremely difficult. Cooking equipment, cutting boards, knives and pots that had any contact with pork are prohibited. We can't use them.
Another theme of these study sessions is Muslim prayer practices. At this hotel, a room has been set aside for that purpose. Inside, a sign indicates the direction of Mecca, and prayer mats have also been prepared. There are 50 such rooms in all.
We can't rely only on visitors from China and South Korea. To attract more tourists, Japan has started to turn its eyes to the ASEAN region, where there's a large number of Muslims. I believe such tourists will increase sharply. Many in the industry are looking at the Southeast Asian market, which accounts for a quarter of the global population. Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore will be the first target markets.
This is a yakiniku restaurant which serves grilled meat in downtown Tokyo. And to accommodate the recent increase of visitors from Muslim countries, this restaurant now serves halal food, which is food that Muslims are allowed to eat under the Islamic law. This is the mark that shows their food is certified. And I'm going to take a look inside.
At this restaurant, customers grill their own meat on a charcoal brazier. They've acquired halal certification and began offering halal cuisine from March 2012. The dishes are offered to all customers. We tried some and found no difference in the taste between the halal meat and non-halal meat. All of the meat comes with the halal mark. They have been prepared under strict guidelines. There are various rules that must be followed in the handling of food, including prayers. The manager shows us around the kitchen.
The meat inside this refrigerator is all halal. To ensure that customers don't mistake the dishes, all the plates have a halal mark.
Even the dishware is marked to separate halal food from non-halal food. They've also increased the selection of halal dishes. Last year, the former Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mahathir bin Mohamad, visited the restaurant. On this day, too, visitors from Malaysia ordered halal grilled meat.
How do you like the barbecue?
Okay, for me, they tasted like very nice. And
At first, I thought it's very difficult. That's why before we came here also, we bring our own food. So far, we haven't eaten any of our food yet. Meaning that we found a lot of halal food here in Japan.
There is still a scarcity of halal food in Japan, and procurement costs remain high. Still, the restaurant owner says he's been able to capture a business opportunity.
Since we began offering halal food, we've gotten a flood of reservations from Muslim customers. In the past 2 or 3 months, the number of Muslim customers has increased to 20%. We believe we've been able to provide Muslims with a service that hadn't been offered by restaurants before. So, it's very interesting and exciting for us. We hope to continue expanding our halal service.
So Utsuda-san, I'm surprised by the number of services for Muslim tourists. And by improving such services, I guess Japan will be able to attract more visitors.
Well, it certainly should help. It's said that there are over 1.6 billion Muslims around the world and accounting for more than 20% of the global population. So that's a major reason why Japanese companies are now taking notice of this big market.
Mm-hmm. So are there other examples?
Yes, several. Kansai International Airport, which is considered the Western gateway to Japan, has increased the number of prayer rooms, and also restaurants inside the airport and a nearby hotel also provides halal food. And besides that, a number of food makers in Japan also provide products that are halal, and now cosmetics and pharmaceutical makers are also considering developing products aimed at Muslim consumers.
So globally, are these initiatives unique?
Well, unfortunately, you can't really say that. Japan lags behind other countries in this regard, and globally, Japan ranks 33rd as a destination for tourists. And with Tokyo hosting the Olympics in 2020, there's still much work to be done to make Japan a more attractive place for foreign visitors.
Yes, I hope we'll see more services for visitors from overseas. And after the break, we'll be bringing you an episode from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite.
Welcome to Tokyo Skytree. This is the grand panoramic view from 450 meters. Here you experience the unforgettable. Look, enjoy, be amazed, and be awestruck. That's what Tokyo Skytree is all about. Japan's latest landmark, Tokyo Skytree.
Hey, look at this. They're building a huge steel plant with Kobelco technology.
Kobelco? Never heard of it.
It's Japanese. They can make iron with incredible speed. What once took 8 hours can be done in just 10 minutes.
Wow, the Japanese are incredible. The country of karate.
Ha! 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 Karate has nothing to do with it.
True. The talk of the world. Kobelco.
Mitsubishi Electric is helping to change the environment for the better around the world.
Green subway systems in India.
Green solar power systems in Singapore.
Sistem AC ramah lingkungan di Indonesia.
Eco changes for a greener tomorrow. Mitsubishi Electric.
Traditional.
Consistent.
Precise.
Speedy.
Professional. Innovative.
Polite. Quality from Japan. The best of business in Asia. SMBC. Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation.
Sasuke, a new type of sports entertainment program conquering the world.
It's about human achievement and people's passions, and I think that relates to almost everybody.
From Japan to the world, Ninja Warrior, Tokyo Broadcasting System.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we bring you an episode from TV Tokyo World Business Satellite. Utsuya-san, I understand the topic is smell.
Yes, today we'll be looking at companies involved in the business of body odor. And body odor is a topic that has been around throughout human history, basically. And for example, perfume is said to have a 4,000-year history.
4,000 years? That long?
Yes, exactly. And body odor can be dealt with by adding a scent or by removing it altogether. And today we'll be introducing a new technology to do just that. So take a look.
November. A shocking announcement was made about body odor. It concerned a smell unique to men in their 30s and 40s.
It's a fact that women find the body odor of middle-aged men offensive more than we imagine.
Samples of the body odor of men in their 30s and 40s are handed out. It's not the smell of sweat or old age. What is this third odor?
We found that this odor is caused by an element in body oils called diacetyl.
So, what is diacetyl? We trailed this little recognized odor. The new type of body odor was identified in Osaka. It was sniffed out by cosmetics maker Mandom. They began researching diacetyl 6 years ago. The odor is in fact created by a certain bacteria carried by everybody. Called Staphylococcus, it is a bacteria found in human skin, and through an electron microscope appears as bunches of grapes.
This is sweat secreted from the skin. We found that it feeds especially on lactic acid, producing diacetyl, in other words, the bad odor from body oils.
Diacetyl, the unpleasant odor produced by many a man in their 30s and 40s. This element wasn't discovered using the latest diagnostic equipment.
Naturally, we rely on the machine to measure the amount. But to determine whether it's a good or bad smell, or how unpleasant, we have no choice but use our own noses.
Mr. Shimizu's job is to smell body odor using his own nose. He has been sniffing the oily, stinky heads of over 100 middle-aged men every year. The researchers here are constantly sniffing stinky odors. That helps them analyze the cause. And by combining olfactory scents and the latest equipment, they stumbled upon the little understood body odor element, diacetyl. The smell is...
In extreme cases, some people even compare it to the smell of a wet rag. And they're not necessarily wrong.
They haven't stopped with just the discovery of a new bad odor. They've already found an element to suppress it.
We thoroughly checked all the ingredients used in cosmetics and non-medicinal products and identified an element that has the highest inhibitory effect against diacetyl.
That element is flavonoid, extracted from herbal remedies such as daylily and cinnamon bark. the discovery of Diacetyl galvanized company employees. New products are currently under development.
It's an awareness among men themselves or wives.
Men who I find attractive are those that are well-groomed and don't smell.
Although the packaging is ready, pricing remains undecided. But project managers believe the new products have potential.
Many middle-aged men are troubled by their body odor, much more than we think. The market includes women who are also aware, so we have high expectations.
Behind the company's bullish outlook is the growing number of people concerned about their body odor. Dr. Tsuneaki Gomi has been treating such patients for 30 years.
Regardless of sex or age, people who are troubled by their body odor are coming to specialists like us more frequently.
The act of offending others with body odor is being referred to as smell harassment.
No one is troubled by their own smell. If it's your own smell, you don't mind it. People are troubled because that smell annoys or is disliked by others and affects social relationships.
This growing realization is leading to new business opportunities. Seiren is Japan's top textile maker. Leveraging their strengths in manufacturing everything from threads to final products, they developed an item that weaves in deodorizing technology. Sales have been brisk, and this year, they developed a product for women. We asked them to show us just how effective it is.
This is where we do the deodorizing experiment. This is a regular cloth. And this is Deoist, which is made to be deodorizing.
The two cloths are put into containers. Then, ammonia said to have a stench 5,000 times that of the toilet is poured in. When an ammonia measuring device is used,
I think we were able to show you that in a short time of 30 seconds, the ammonia was broken down to a level undetectable by the human nose.
The secret is ceramics attached to the threads. The ceramics absorb the odor, which is then decomposed by metal ions. Seeking to expand this new market, they are aggressively promoting the deodorizing technology. They head to a manufacturer of sports supports. Sports equipment must not only be deodorizing, but also hold up to intense activity and be comfortable. The hurdles are high.
Supports are worn directly on the skin.
They take out a cloth sample.
We use a material with a deodorizing effect. If you touch it, you'll notice that it has the same feel as before, but with a deodorizing function.
We think it'll be easier to use and advantageous for the customer.
The company's next target is the car industry.
This is a deodorizing car seat.
They aim to open up a new market with an unprecedented deodorizing car seat. In the experiment, they'll be using French fries, which are placed in the car. To circulate the smell, they wait 15 minutes. Using their noses, they confirm the odor. First, a car with conventional car seats.
French fries. I smell it. It's still here.
Next, a car installed with deodorizing car seats. They say they've demonstrated this experiment to car makers as well.
The odor is largely gone.
One car maker has expressed interest.
It'll be next year, but we've already started discussing specifics. We believe there'll be a chance to demonstrate it to customers as well.
The company has also provided deodorizing seats elsewhere. The Keihan Electric Railway in Osaka. Starting this year, they began using deodorizing seats in carriages. All the seats in this train are deodorizing. This is the first time the product is being used for public transportation.
With more people demanding deodorizing products, we hope to make our customers happy by being the earliest adopter of this product for train carriages.
Demand for products to stamp out smells is surging. The market continues to sniff out new opportunities.
Well, the technology to take out the odor out of the car seat, that one is so amazing. I wish, personally, I had that for my pillowcase, because that's where your head stays the longest during the day. So.
I see. That could be a new product idea. Well, according to research institutes, odors that are considered the most offensive include such things as, we have a chart here, garbage, the toilet, cigarettes, pets, and body odors.
Well, I never really thought about it, but there are certainly a lot of odors that annoy people.
There are. And also there are a variety of techniques to eliminate odors that have been developed throughout history. And just to introduce a few, the first is leftover tea leaves. And they say tea leaves contain a certain element that's effective in eliminating odors.
Well, I know I've seen related products on store shelves.
Yes, I have too. And now to use tea leaves directly, you have to dry them and then put them in a tea bag. And then you can put them inside a refrigerator or a closet and they'll take out the unwanted smell. And another odor-fighting element for the refrigerator is charcoal.
Well, I've seen deodorizers that contain activated charcoal.
Yes, that's the one. And again, to use charcoal directly, without buying any products, you can take some after you've had a barbecue and put them in a pot and boil them, and after they dry out, they can be put in the fridge or wherever, and they're said to absorb foul odors. And the same effect has been demonstrated using burnt bread.
Interesting.
Isn't it?
Well, so how big is this market?
Well, currently it's a $1 billion plus market, or it's said to be, and sales are vulnerable to fluctuations in the economy, but with growing interest in health and health products, demand is expected to grow further.
Okay. Well, I'll be sure to keep my nose on it. And what's next?
Well, first of all, I have to ask you, what did you play with when you were a small child?
Well, I spent my childhood in Australia, and I used to have this size of pony doll, and it had long and hairy tail, so I used to play around with the hair.
I see, it sounds cute. I used to have a doll's house that I really liked playing with.
It's nice too.
But recently you may know that there are study materials for small children that combine study and play, and there are now moves to adopt this method in business as well. And yes, and we have a report on companies that are using such methods to further their businesses, so take a look.
A kindergarten in Kanagawa Prefecture. The teacher has brought building blocks. But they're not your usual blocks. There are protrusions at the edges, which are inserted into holes of other blocks to connect them. They can be put together not only horizontally and vertically, but also diagonally, making it possible to create complex shapes. That flexibility allows the user to be as creative as possible. The developer is educational products maker Arttech. They offer about 8,000 types of products. In November 2012, they began selling these blocks targeting 3-year-olds and above.
Until now, it was impossible to connect them diagonally like this. So children can now connect them into any shape they like.
In just 1 year after being launched, it has been adopted by over 3,500 kindergartens and elementary schools in Japan. The company has also expanded exports to 20 countries. The blocks even won a well-known toy award in the United States. What's more, the company is now eyeing sales in an unusual field. This is an international robot exhibition held in Tokyo in November. In one section, surrounded by industrial robots of major manufacturers, is Company President Etsu Fujiwara.
We are exhibiting an arm robot used to carry and move things in factories that's made out of blocks.
The arm made from blocks and operated with a motor is no different than an industrial robot found in factories. Artec is hoping to sell their product into corporate research and development departments.
We believe companies might be able to use these blocks in simulations of products they develop.
The idea is to get industrial robot manufacturers to build prototypes of newly developed products using these blocks. The company has even developed connectable circuit boards and motors. The price of the software and blocks is about $350. So, what do visitors think?
Until now, we use diagrams to test concepts, but it's necessary to actually build a prototype. This will make it a lot less costly. For engineers like us, being able to see the actual prototype and its movements helps us understand the actual specifications much clearer than on paper.
Using this exhibition as a springboard, the company is aiming to start sales early next year and win new clients.
Our products have been developed with children in mind. They're applicable to companies as well. We have to put them to use, not just in Japan, but around the world as well.
Moves to push beyond the traditional boundaries of study materials are also being seen at this major correspondence education firm. This is a tool to study Japanese hiragana characters called Tanji Block. It was jointly developed by Benesse Corporation and a major university in the U.S.
There are 50 of these blocks. You combine them like this.
Using an application on a tablet device, the user places the character blocks and words are displayed as pictures. At the back of the blocks are different patterns which allow the characters to be recognized. But what Benesse developed is only a basic technology. Applications hold the key to unlocking its potential. So the company turned to the IT industry to develop an application. On this day, programmers at various IT firms gather in a room.
The theme today is the development of study applications using Tanji blocks to promote learning through play among both adults and children.
This is an event to develop applications.
Okay, let's start.
The time limit is 7 hours. One programmer, Naoki Morita, starts by trying out the blocks himself.
It's like a color combination game. It's fun.
He incorporates his impressions into the application. While checking the functions of the program, Mr. Morita has an idea. He begins making changes. Benesse unveiled this product to various industries ahead of its commercial launch. The aim?
We thought maybe it could have applications beyond education and in a broader range of fields. Everyone, thank you for your hard work. It's now 6:15.
What were they able to come up with in just 7 hours? Mr. Morita, who we saw earlier, has developed...
I developed a battle-type application.
When a block is placed in the empty space of a question bubble, it determines if the answer is correct before moving on to the next problem. He designed it so that 2 people can play the game.
I thought it would be fun if parents and children can play the game together.
This is another game that was developed.
When a character enters the ring,
the blocks are shown as sumo wrestlers entering the ring. So what do the programmers here think about the possibilities of these blocks?
with Tanji blocks, you can use devices like the iPad to combine digital and analog tools. So I think it's possible to find many ways to use various tools, not just for study materials.
The feedback is good. To get more ideas, they've decided to hold a contest offering $7,000 in cash prizes.
Rather than simply thinking within the confines of the education industry, we want to take the various ideas that are generated, such as games or art applications, that we can feed back into education. In the sense of expanding our business, this is extremely meaningful.
Educational materials that go beyond education. They may not only open up new avenues for growth, but also transform the learning experience.
Well, it's amazing to see them express the round shapes by using blocks. It's not that difficult, it's simple, so the children can play with it.
Exactly, but they're building blocks, but they're much more advanced than what I remember using when I was small.
Yes, me too.
Well, the initiatives we saw to use study materials in new ways are being adopted in various fields, and just to give an example, there's a company that's using Legos, the building blocks from Denmark, in training sessions, and the technique was developed based on a theory by a professor at MIT in the US, and participants are asked to use Legos to give shape to their ideas of an ideal organization or a career, and that helps them realize their inability to vocalize their ideas, or helps develop communication skills.
Using Lego.
Exactly.
Wow, so how exactly does it work?
Well, for example, you use the blocks to describe the company or a product, a customer or management, and by understanding what each block symbolizes, you can extract the blocks that will lead you to the most effective marketing strategy.
Well, I imagine there could be lively discussions on the color or shape of blocks that are chosen.
That's the case. And another interesting example, the Shinkansen operator, J.R. Tokai, uses toy trains for evacuation training.
A real train conductor using a toy train?
Yes, and it's actually quite difficult for train conductors and staff to get a grasp of the entire situation when using actual trains. So that's why they use toy trains, and they can get a more comprehensive view of the situation.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so make sure you join us again next week.
As the future evolves, Toyota is envisioning a more interconnected life where information and energy flow seamlessly throughout the globe. The road ahead will require diverse and eco-friendly mobility solutions. It is on this path that our small choices lead to big changes. Life. Connected. Toyota.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could do this? We make things like this possible through the power of chemistry. We're the Kaiteki Company, Mitsubishi Chemical Holdings.
Sou uma pessoa comum. Eu gosto de apreciar todos os momentos do meu dia. Quanto isso pode me motivar? Como eu posso me manter focada? Tudo ao meu redor, incluindo os momentos do meu dia a dia, é o que eu preciso para me concentrar para a minha luta de 90 minutos. Quero dar esperança às pessoas. A better life, a better world.
Panasonic.
Asia, the engine of the global economy. Japan, a regional powerhouse. And now, direct from Japan, economic news with a global impact in Chinese, delivered by Nikkei. Read the future, lead the economy. Nikkei, Japan's leading media for business.
Channel Japan. Your source for the voices and views of people and businesses across Japan. The latest reports on Japanese companies, culture, and technology. Find out what's happening on the ground. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.